This week's Grandmaster Nightfall is the Corrupted from the Dreaming City. If you're able to complete it, you have a high chance to get an exotic gear, ascendant shards, along with the hung jury adept. Let's go over the build I used to complete this Grandmaster, along with any helpful tips and tricks I have to be able to complete it a little bit easier. Let's jump right on in. For the build, I used the Arc Grenadier build that we have on the channel, so go check out that video if you want to see more in-depth details of why I'm using what I'm using. For the subclass and super, I went with Thunder Crash since it's easier to do a little bit of damage to the champions. I took Towering Barricade for a little bit more protection. I went with Thunderclap for that extra range. Obviously Pulse Grenade since we're going to be amping that up to the max. I went with Spark of Magnitude, Spark of Shock, Spark of Resistance, and Spark of Ions. I have two sets of weapons that I like to use for this. The first up being Bastion to stop the unstoppable champions. Then we're also going to be picking Doom of Chelchis. I have a Void since it is a Void Surge with explosive payload so that we can do that extra damage at range. This is pretty important, as well as if you have the artifact mod to do Scout Overload, now you have the ability to stun both types of champions. Yes, your grenades can stun, but it is nice to have an extra way to stun them if you can't exactly throw a grenade exactly on them. And last up, I was taking Taipan. Since it is Void, we are getting that extra surge. And with this final boss, it's hard to use something like Rocket since she does move around so much. So I'm choosing to go with something with more precision damage, something like Taipan or something in that class. The other loadout that I liked was going to be the Succession, since we could do a little bit more damage at range since Bastion isn't great for it. And since we are swapping out our ability to do unstoppable champions, I'm also choosing Leviathan's Breath. I don't have the catalyst, so it's not as good as it normally would be, but it still is a fantastic weapon even if you don't have the catalyst. It can stop those unstoppables and it does a ton of damage to champions. I was basically using this solely for damage to champions along with damage to the bosses. Succession is great because a lot of times in this Nightfall you want to stay a little bit further back, and this gives you the capability to do that while doing a ton of damage. I pair this with the Reconstruction and Recombination, that way I never have to reload. And Recombination is fantastic since we are going to be killing a ton with our grenades along with the Doom of Chelchis. We are going to be powering up our next shot for our Succession. For our mods on the helmet, I went the Void Siphon since we are using a Void Scout Rifle, Ash's Asset since we want to throw as many grenades as possible, along with Heavy Ammo Finder for that extra little bit of heavy ammo. I'm also choosing Grenade Kickstart since we're not going to be taking advantage of Armor Charge in any other way. It's going to be great to get your grenade back as quick as possible. With that being said, every time you throw your grenade, you're also going to be getting your class ability back with Bolstering Detonation. And we're also taking Impact Induction so that whenever we do use our melee, we can charge up our grenade a little bit more. For resistances, there is an arc threat, so I'm choosing arc resistance as one of them. I'm choosing sniper damage resistance since we are going to be staying a little bit further back, along with concussive dampener since there is a lot of AoE that does get thrown at you. I'm taking recuperation, innervation, and absolution. This makes it so we're getting ability energy back for all of our abilities whenever we pick up an orb, along with extra for our grenade and a little bit of health. And lastly, on the mark, powerful attraction to pick up any nearby orbs, pairing that with Reaper so that we can create orbs after we use our barricade with our weapon. And then finally, a little bit of extra grenade energy since we are trying to throw our grenade as much as possible. There's the build. Let's jump on into some tips and tricks to make this strike a little bit easier. So first things first, I didn't have a full gameplay with the Succession and Leviathan's Breath duo. So for the first half of this, we're going to have the Bastion and Taipan duo. And about halfway through, we're going to switch over to the duo where we have Leviathan's Breath and Succession. For this first part, you want to kill this first overload. And I like to kill a few of these guys on the left, but you don't have to. And then we're going to go off to the right side and push all the way up, basically next to the boss. And we want to kill the boss. So that's what we're doing here. You can actually pull out your Sparrow and go across this if you want. I like to play it a little bit safer, at least for this first jump. And then we want to go all the way around to the right side. Our teammate's stopping right there to kill some people. You don't have to. You can actually push all the way up through this right side. And right here, you're going to see we have clear line of sight on this boss. If we can get this boss down as quick as possible, that's the best thing we can do. His little Axion darts or whatever the heck they're called that he shoots at you are deadly. So we're trying to melt him down pretty much as quick as possible. And then we're going to have 2 overloads to kill. And then there's going to be another wave of enemies that spawn when enough enemies do get killed. So we kill him. We're pushing up just slightly. This is why I like to have a Void Scout Rifle too. All these enemies do have a Void Shield, so it makes it that much easier to kill them a little bit quicker. Now that we've killed a few of those enemies, we're having that extra wave of enemies spawn. So this is where we have a few of the snipers that spawn, as well as those overload champs that we need to take out. You want to stay back here. Do not push up. As tempting as it might be, stay back here, get your kills, and then we're going to move on. So now that we've killed both of the overload champs, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next section, and I'll see you there. All right, so when you get to the elevator section, you want to clear out these few ads that you have at the beginning. So that's what we're doing here. We're taking out scions on the left, and we also have scions on the right. We take them out, and then we want to start prepping these relics that we have. And how you do that is you have a teammate go and collect one, and you can actually pass it to all 3 teammates. And if you do pass it 3 times, or I guess I should say 2 times, so it's touched 3 people, then it does stay a little bit longer. My teammates didn't really realize that. So right there, we were able to get one that's a little bit longer. But start prepping a few of these. You can drop them, and then we're going to clear out the first wave of ads, which are just going to be scions, and then we're going to have a bunch of these to basically clear out the entire group. Now, some people like to prep this for the second wave as well. We weren't able to, I believe, on this run, so that's not usually going to happen on an LFG group, but do what you can. I like to throw a grenade to clear out all these scions, and then once you get here, immediately throw those relics. You're going to take out their shields, and you're going to do a ton of damage to these guys with those relics. So slowly work your way, killing all the enemies, and then kill this last boss. But if you do want to prep, you can wipe out everyone but this last boss, and then prep a few more of those relics. So we ended up having a teammate go down, and we just picked him up, and he used his super, so we weren't able to get any of these prepped, but we can have at least one of these prepped. And I thought he was going to throw me another one, which is why I drop it. I see that he's supering. Unfortunately, it does hit that taken ball that's flying around. But again, clear out the scions first. We get another one prepped, so I know I have one. I throw it, unfortunately hits that again. So this time I'm going to try to aim a little bit to the left. We're able to clear off their shields, and that's basically what we want to do. Throw your grenades, do everything you can to clear these guys out. Unfortunately, there's one more in the back. It's not a big deal. Try to stay back a little bit. It's not too crazy if you could just stay back, and if you get a bunch of those shields cleared off immediately, then you should be good to go. So now that we've actually cleared out all the enemies on this elevator, when we're moving up to this area, there's going to be unstoppable right away. So what I like to do is I like to stun them and immediately throw one of our arc grenades. Use these 2 walls, or you can actually step back a little bit further and get a little bit more cover. I don't like to be right next to my teammates since, you know, that's what can happen. They keep shooting the same area. Unfortunately, we have a Hive Knight that just is absolutely shooting the crap out of our teammate's dead body. So there's not a whole lot I could do about that right now. So we're going to slowly work our way through, pick our teammate up, and clear out all the enemies from here. So we've cleared out basically all the enemies, and now we have the Shrieker. Stay a little bit further back. If you have Strand or a teammate with Strand, they can actually suspend these guys. If not, use your stasis to freeze them. Our teammate used a rocket to take out a bunch of the health. It wasn't necessary, but it does do it a little bit quicker. And be careful, once you start moving up to this area, you should have a knight on your left and your right. If you didn't kill them earlier, they will push back just a little bit, and that's what our knights did. They pushed back as soon as we killed that unstoppable ogre. So just be a little bit careful when you're going through this area. You might have a few knights to worry about. So now that we've killed the knights, we have an unstoppable ogre right here and one that's a little bit further back. So we're going to stay back, kill this guy. If you have someone with Aeons, let them get the finish off and let the ogre push up a little bit more. Since we didn't really care. We're just going to be killing him as quick as we can while conserving our ammo. So stay back, make sure this guy doesn't push up and be able to kill you. You do have a knight over there as well. So that's all this area is staying a little bit further back, killing these enemies, and making sure those knights can't hit you, and using as much cover as you can. So I see the unstoppable starting to push up a little bit. Our teammate does stun him, so I know that we're just going to be able to take him out from here. So that's what we're doing. This is where something like Succession and Leviathan's Breath is going to be a little bit better. Since I didn't want to use any of my Taipan shots, the only thing I have is my scout rifle, because Bastion's not going to do much from this range. So I do suggest using Succession and Leviathan's Breath over the Bastion and Taipan duo. But if you don't have Succession or Leviathan's Breath, that's still a good duo to use. So we take him out, and be careful. Right around this pillar is going to be another Shrieker. So again, if you have stasis or Strand, you can actually stun them and make it so they can't shoot you. Otherwise, use this pillar as cover. Push up a little bit, make it open up, and have teammates ready to shoot them from afar, or just keep jiggle peeking and actually take them out. There's another one farther back to the left, as well as one in the middle of that staircase area. So once you get here, there's 2 separate rooms you have. Make sure you kill this unstoppable ogre right here. You want to have that as your first #1 priority. Once that guy is killed, you can kill the Hive ogre first. If you kill this boss first in this room, then you'll stay in the Taken realm. So now that we've transferred to the Taken realm, there are 2 unstoppable shield guys. I forget what they're called, but there's 2 of those that you do want to kill out. For the time being, I'm trying to take out other small adds so that, you know, the room isn't as ad heavy. They'll keep going back to the middle of the staircase unless you're on one of those staircases. So what I like to do is stay here. We take out this unstoppable ogre. And what I was trying to tell my teammates is the same thing. We want to kill the hive ogre first. And I don't think they really caught on because we weren't able to take him out as quick as I wanted to. So I do want to point this out. I had teammates that wanted to push up, so I decided I was going to push up with them. I went onto the right side. They had went onto the left side. Again, I try not to stick together because this is exactly what happens. We have a knight from the bridge and a knight from the right side that kill our teammates. And now I'm stuck in a room by myself, waiting it out to go pick them up. So just be a little bit careful. You don't have to push up. You can if you are feeling more confident, but you can absolutely stay back on that staircase and just kill the hive boss. That's all you really need to do, and then you'll be in this realm and you can clear out those 2 unstoppables and then clear out the taken boss. So I'm able to pick up my teammates, and that's what I'm trying to tell them right now, is that we need to focus on that hive so that we can actually take out that one and only be in one realm and we don't have the same issue happening again. But it's not a huge deal, so it's just going to take us a little bit longer because they wanted to be a little bit more aggressive and push up, and that's what happened. So again, focus on the hive boss first, and then take out the 2 unstoppables that are in the taken realm, and then you can take out the taken boss. And that way you'll be able to kill all of the champions, get your platinum rewards, and it won't be this transition back and forth, because that'll be what ends up killing you, because once you transition, you don't know where those enemies went. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to take out the boss. Fortunately, he's just solely focused on me and just absolutely pelts me. But I'm doing what I can, you know, take this guy out as quick as you possibly can, and that's that. So now that we've killed the unstop and we just killed the hive boss, we're going to be sent into the taken realm. And when we get to the taken realm, we're going to be here for good. So once we're here, again, take out the 2 unstoppable shielded enemies that are here, and then kill the taken boss, and then work your way up to the portal and come back. So we're using these pillars as cover side from the Shrieker. We kill the taken boss, and then now there's going to be a portal. As you can see, champion has appeared. Go run through the portal as quick as you can. Unfortunately, we have a teammate die in the taken realm, so if that does happen, make sure you still have one of your teammates there to pick them up. So I'm going to be out here doing as much damage as I can while our teammates are in the taken realm, trying to pick each other up, and then come help me as well. So when you do get to this area, there are 2 unstoppable phalanxes here. So make sure you take both of them out and then slowly work your way up to the staircase. This is going to take me a little bit longer because, like I said, my teammates are in the taken realm, so I'm kind of waiting for them, playing it safe. But normally just take those 2 guys out and then work your way to the staircase. So now my teammates are back. We're killing all the enemies. We've killed those 2 unstoppable champions. We do have enemies, snipers on the left and the right. So I'm taking out all these thralls so they can't hit us. And then I'm going to be taking out those snipers the first thing I can. One of them did push back, but there he is. He just pushed back out. So I'm going to take him out. And then we have a bunch of enemies that are coming up the staircase in the mid. So we want to kill the small adds as quick as possible so they can't, you know, melee us. But those phalanxes should stay pretty much right there. You can use things like stasis or strand again to suspend them and keep them there if they do start moving up, but I don't believe they do. Throw your grenades, take them out, and then we'll move on. There are 2 overload champions on either side of the back of this arena. So kill these guys and then move up to the center. Like I said, we killed those guys, we moved up to the center, and on the right and the left, so we're going to the right side first, there's an overload champion. You do have a bit of cover to work around for both of these. I like to stay a little bit further back for this guy, and then on the left side, I move all the way up there. So that's what we're doing. We're taking this guy out, and then we're going to go to the left side. So we have taken out the right guy. Now we're going to the left side. I like to move all the way up since it is fairly easy to stun them, especially with a grenade. So that's what I do. Throw my grenade. He's stunned. And now quickly take him out. There is a mini boss in the center. You don't have to actually kill him, but he does hit very hard. So I use this rock on my right to give me a little bit of cover. We take him out, and then we want to move on. Unfortunately, this time he moved directly at us. Sometimes he stays on the right side. I'm not exactly sure what causes him to move where, but just quickly move your way through. And then this is going to be the jumping part. You can do it one at a time. We had one of our teammates actually stay up there and stay alive just in case. But I found that there's a very easy way to do this actual jumping part and not get killed. And the thing you want to do is when you jump off this ledge right here, look for this rock right here and jump to this rock. You can land here. It's very safe. It doesn't turn. And then you can take your time and jump when you're ready, because those little balls, when they hit you, they will kill you. So use that rock as a little bit of leverage and you can easily jump down. I did that all 3 times when I was running this, and every single time I was able to get it squeaky clean and not die. So as you can see, one of our teammates just spawned there. So if you don't trust yourself with that jump, you can wait for your teammates to go and then it will pull you. When it gets to this area, you do have a overload champion in the back. I like to take out all the small adds and then take out this overload. You can actually cheese it a little bit, and if you can freeze him or knock him off, he will die and he doesn't respawn. So that is one thing you can do, but you don't have to do. You can easily just take him out and then slowly work your way through. This whole part is just about, I just saw my teammate fall off the edge. I didn't realize, I didn't remember that happening, but he fell off the rock. So we're going to pick him up and then we're going to move on. So what I like to do is I like to stay on the platform before and then just kill the enemies. As you can see, our teammate pushed way too far up and died. These teammates, they really wanted to push, and that's what you can't do in Grandmasters. So I stay a little bit further back. We quickly clear them out and then we can go pick up our teammate. Again, don't get over aggressive, and the same thing goes for this part right here. You have a bunch of minotaurs and a bunch of enemies that are trying to run and kill you. So stay up here, take as many out as you can. There's minotaurs on the left. There should be 2. There's a boss or a mini boss in the back mid, and then there's a minotaur on the right. You don't have to clear all of them, I don't think. I think you maybe have to clear the mini boss. We like to clear them anyway. It doesn't really hurt. So we had one guy go and push up to try to pull out a few more of those ads, and then we're clearing out those minotaurs for him and clearing out any other ads as well. So again, we're staying up here. We kill the final mini boss and then we're moving up. But when we are moving up to this next area, there's an overload and a vandal right here. The vandal is quite annoying because they can put up their bubble. So we like to take out the vandal as quick as possible and then focus on the overload. Just past this is the same exact thing, overload and a vandal. Kill the vandal, make sure they can't put up the bubble, and then focus on the overload. And then you're onto the boss arena. So once you get here, for this part, this is the island you want to stay on. I'm going to proc the boss. Someone has to jump across. So I jump, make sure it activates, and then I'm pushing back here. We like to stay here, stay a little bit spread out, but use cover. Your arc grenades are fantastic every time this wave spawns. So I throw an arc grenade. It spreads so much jolt damage to everyone. Again, they jump towards the middle. I throw another arc grenade and just watch the kills roll in. Bam, 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 kill after kill after kill. And that's because those arc grenades with the jolt. So you want to throw your grenades whenever they are spawning, and you're going to get a ton of kills from that and take out a bunch of the enemies. What we like to do, since we have a Void Hunter, he's going to go invis and go and grab the relic. Make sure you are clearing out enemies for him just in case they do try to shoot at him, which is what I'm doing now. If you are the Void Hunter, try to stay away from the knights, especially because they can actually throw some fire at you, and that is what will end up probably killing you. So we do want to throw it to at least one of our teammates, and then we can hit the boss with it. It'll wipe out our shield, and then we're going to do some damage. There are a few ways to cheese this, but we're going to look at the normal way since this is going to be a way to LFG it. So again, I saw a wave of enemies spawn, throwing my arc grenade to be able to spread a ton of that jolt and kill a ton of them again. Do that over and over again. We already have the first set done, and that's what we're going to do. She now moves to the left side, so you can use this left pillar right here on my left. You can scoot back a little bit and play behind that if she is hitting you. So I do want to point out, this is what I was talking about. I revive my teammate, I get the relic, and then I go to throw it at the boss, and she just completely one-shots me. I had full health. I might have even had a little bit of overshield, and she just completely one-shots me. I don't know exactly what causes that. Just be careful that I believe if she direct hits you, that might be what one-shots you. I don't know. But be careful whenever you break her shield. Now another wave of enemy spawns on the right. You can try to quickly take her out or take out the enemies. I like to take out the enemies to play it a little bit safer, because once you take out her entire health bar, you will have another wave of enemies spawn and she'll disappear. And when that happens, you can just book it for the portal and just go through and not have to worry about it. So that's what I'm trying to do. We took out a ton of those enemies to clear the way. We're going to get her to that next health gate, and then I want to book it for the mid. There are a few enemies there, so I'm going to chuck a grenade to hopefully clear out a bunch of those. Once she does teleport, you will get a turn back signal, and that island will be unplayable. So that's why you do want to have a lot of those enemies cleared out. At this point, you can just book it through. One of our teammates was debating on whether he wanted to. Just go ahead and book it through. Then you don't have to worry about it. So go through the portal, and then we're on to the next section. I believe what actually happens here is you have these knights, and if you clear the knights, she'll teleport to the next area. So I like to take out the vandal if there's a vandal so that they can't put up the bubble. I like to then take out the knight so that she gets pushed back a little bit further, and then clear the overload. My teammates were actually going for the overload, so I decided to help them a little bit, but normally I'd like to take out the knights and then the overload. Again, stay back if you need to, stay healthy, stay alive, and just clear these sections one by one. There's no need to over push, and just be wary of the rocks when you are crossing gaps. So as you can see here, we are taking out the knight, and then immediately she teleports. So that is what causes it. When you take out one of those knights, she teleports to the next area, and then we cleared out the second phase, so that small little area right here in front of us, and then there's going to be a third phase that spawns, and those will have an unstoppable and some more knights, so just be careful, stay back. Again, I like to take out the Vandals since they do have the snipers and the bubbles to protect their team. So I take out the Vandals, then I like to focus on the knights if I can, and then take out unstoppables. So now that we've cleared all that, it's just moving on to the boss fight. And there's two phases to this boss fight if you don't completely wipe her out in the first phase, which is highly unlikely to happen with the LFG group. Some people like to stay on that previous island right before you jump up. I don't really like to do that. I like to push all the way up and then just quickly clear out these guys. You don't really have to worry about the first set of ads since there's not a ton that spawn. But what you can do is then wait for her to do that little push, and then I like to go. I like to hide behind pillars to get a little bit of protection, and then wait for her to do her little bounce and push, and try to stay on the ground as much as possible. If you're in the air and she does that push, that's how you end up moving. Again, I hear her doing that, so I want to just keep moving so that I don't get launched up into the air and pushed off the map. So I throw it to my teammate, we break the shield, and this is where you can potentially burn her down. We weren't able to here, but it's all good. We'll go on to that second phase. So when it comes to this area, I like to know that on the right side, we have enemies that spawn. Unfortunately, I do get pushed up, but I was luckily able to stay close. But again, unfortunately, the boss is focusing me and I end up getting killed. One of the main things you can do here to stay alive is to spread out. Unfortunately, I was the one that got targeted. And luckily, both of my teammates didn't die there because they were sticking on top of each other, which again, please do not do that. But teammates love to do that. They stuck together and almost both died. I have an unfortunate super that I was hoping was going to reach the enemies, but hit right in front of me. But we are able to kill all the enemies, and now it's just the boss. And once you get to this point, it's home free. Take your time, make sure you don't get pushed off. Have potentially the Invis Hunter go to the middle and then pick up the relic, and you'll do your final damage phase. She unfortunately drops down, and I didn't realize she was going to do that, so the relic doesn't hit her. But we can go quickly pick up another one. I throw it to my teammate, and we're going to do our last damage phase. And just like that, you've completed the Corrupted Strike, what used to be one of the harder Nightfalls to do, which has now become a little bit easier with the new subclasses and all that. But with that, you have a GG, well played. There's your free adept hung jury along with some ascendant shards and an exotic as promised. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.